The organizers of Nomad Summit, the world's largest conference for digital nomads and remote workers, is headed to Mexico. The event will take place in Cancun on October 12th and 13th. Nomad Summit began in Chiang Mai, Thailand a few years ago and has since held an event in Las Vegas as well, welcoming up to 400 aspiring and experienced digital nomads at a time. Attendees take part in talks, workshops, and pool parties, among other fun activities. Their upcoming event is sponsored by Safety Wing, the travel and medical insurance company for digital nomads that we covered on episode 1 of Digital Nomad News, and it will be held at a Selena property in Cancun. We covered Selena's UK expansion in a recent show as well. For more on those companies, check out the links in the description. And now Nomad Summit's founder, Johnny FD, joins us for more. Welcome, Johnny.
Hey, Kristin, thank you so much for having me on, and hello to everyone watching out there.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Nomad Summit. When did you start it and why?
The Nomad Summit actually came about at a bar. There's been a lot of digital nomad meetups nowadays, so wherever you go in the world, I'm sure you can find a small digital nomad meetup or even a conference maybe, especially in popular places like in Thailand or in Bali or in Lisbon, Portugal, kind of all dotted around the world. But 5 years ago, there was really not a big community anywhere, even in Chiang Mai, the mecca or the hub of digital nomads. And we would have these small, get-togethers and gatherings all the time, but it was almost always at a bar with loud music, usually live music, lots of drinks, and it was a ton of fun. And I saw that it would slowly grow. In the beginning, in 2013, we would have maybe 10 people show up, then 12, 15 maybe. And one day, I think we had like 20 people or maybe even 30 people at this really loud rock bar. And it was a great time. It was the first time I really felt surrounded by other entrepreneurs who were traveling. And we didn't even really call ourselves digital nomads at the time, but it was just a term that had just started. The movement had really just started getting popular. And I remember thinking, this is such an amazing event to be at, but also a place in the world that we are all in another country, in Thailand, but we're meeting each other, and everyone's from all around the world. Everyone has different businesses. We can learn so much from each other. And I remember walking around the bar, with a drink in my hand, I think it was a whiskey, and saying to people, hey, how cool would it be if we all got together, rented a nice hotel conference room somewhere with a microphone and a projector so we can, have a quiet place to be able to interact, and let's learn from each other. I'm sure every single person in this room has something to offer, and I'm sure there's some people who are really successful that have, a really big impact that we can teach each other. And the first 5 people I remember would say like, oh yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work to do, or like, oh, we don't really need that. We have these meetups. But it was, in my mind, I knew it would be something really, really helpful and useful for people. So I just kept asking. I remember maybe it was the 6th or 7th person finally said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. You should do it. And I thought, yeah, I should do this.
So this will be your first Nomad Summit in Mexico. Can you tell us why you chose Cancun specifically and what the Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Riviera Maya region offers for digital nomads and remote workers?
Yeah, so the reason why we chose Cancun, Mexico this time, so we're still going to have our main conference January 2020 in Chiang Mai. We've had it every single year there for the last 5 years, and it's a big event there. Last 2 years, we've had 400 people show up each year. So it's a really big event. It's kind of the mecca. January is a great time to be in Chiang Mai because the weather is great. It's not too hot. It's not cold. The air is amazing. And there's just a ton of nomads in town. A lot for the digital, a lot of digital nomads for the Nomad Summit. But instead of making people wait an entire year to be able to get together, to network, to come to a Nomad Summit conference, we decided, hey, let's have one in the middle of the year. We're trying to make it a bit earlier, but this time it is going to be October, so a good few months before Chiang Mai. And the reason why we chose Cancun is because Mexico is one of those countries that it hits the bucket list, especially for Americans, but also Canadians and a lot of people who even maybe people in Europe, because there are direct flights actually from kind of the west of Europe directly to Cancun, Mexico. It hits all the checkpoints. It's out of the U.S., so we can qualify for things like the foreign earned income exchange, which one of our speakers spoke about last year in Vegas. And you're out of the U.S., your cost of living are lower, your tax burden is lower, and it's a beautiful tropical place. It's warm, people are friendly, the cost of living is much lower, the food is so good, and it hits all the checkpoints while being in the same time zone or close to the same time zone as being back in the U.S. It's also a very short flight from pretty much anywhere in the U.S., but even from Canada and Western Europe, you can get a direct flight. Cancun itself has the big conference center, has a new Selena co-living, co-working space, which we're partnering with, and they are a 500-room hotel. So we can have a big event there. They have really great rooms from, nice apartment-style rooms if you want to bring your whole family, but they also have dorms. So you can share a room with other people coming to the conference, or just book it, because most people that weekend are going to be coming to the conference anyways. So you can book an 8 or 12-person dorm and just pay a small amount of money so anybody can afford to come. And that's why Cancun is so good. It's also right next to Playa del Carmen. It's a short bus ride from Playa del Carmen, which is a up-and-coming nomad hotspot, which is right on the beach, but also has great scuba diving. It has great food. It's just a fun place to be. And a lot of us, including myself, have been wanting to have the excuse to move to Playa del Carmen for a few months, to visit this part of the world, but we didn't want to do it alone. And I think a lot of people coming to the Nomad Summit are going to be staying in Playa del Carmen afterwards. So it's a perfect location for it.
So what can attendees expect to learn, or what can they expect in general of a Nomad Summit event?
So as far as what you'll learn at this conference itself, we really tried to put together, and every single year we try to put together a very varied mix of speakers who have a couple of things in common. They are successful in their own field. A lot of people are making six figures, over $100,000 a year, or working for these $1 million big remote companies. And that's the second part of it, is it has to be remote. It has to be a job or career or business that you can run from anywhere in the world. And some of them that we're having speak choose to base themselves in Mexico, even though they're not originally from there, or they're from Europe or the US, and they can come to Mexico for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 months even, whenever they feel like it, because we are location independent. So this year we have a couple big names, but really it's the people that we found and curated that you may have never heard of that might teach you the most, because these are people that are so busy running their own six-figure businesses, they don't always have time to be able to share this info. So we're very happy to be able to have them come, do their actual keynote talks, as well as have a Q&A. And this is when you can really ask each and every one of the speakers exactly what you want to know and what's on your mind. So it's almost getting one-on-one personal help in this big group after each talk.
For people who can't make it to Mexico this year, where can they expect to find Nomad Summit in 2020?
And if you guys can't make it to Mexico this October, I'd love to see you at the main mega event, Nomad Summit 2020. It's going to be the weekend of January 18th in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it's going to be a huge event. Make sure you either get your tickets right away for the Cancun event before prices go up, but also put your name on the waiting list. Set up our email at nomadsummit.com. Also RSVP on the Facebook event page for a shot at early bird discount tickets for the Nomad Summit 2020 in January. And that's it. I would love to see you all there. I'm really excited. I'm actually in Prague now, flying to the US, flying to Mexico soon, all while working online from, learning from these big bosses. So hope to see you at the Nomad Summit. Kristin, thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you there. Bye-bye.